Sketchy. Hello. Welcome to Sketchy. Welcome to my iPad screen. And I'm drawing ducks. Hope you're not sick of ducks, folks. This is the big one. This is not the culmination. This is not the final duck. But for me, this is the big one. This is the OG reason to do this whole thing. And this is, of course, Donald Duck. It's time to draw Donald Duck. And just like with Daffy Duck, where I felt like I couldn't contain the daffiness in just a single image, I had to do a quartet of images here celebrating Donald Duck. Mickey is the king. Mickey's the original whatever. Donald Duck has personality. He's got attitude. Whatever. He's cool. He's my favorite cartoon character ever since I was a little kid. This is why I'm fascinated with cartoon ducks. And so I had to choose four definitive, iterations of Donald Duck. And what I've done here is I'm drawing a version of first appearance Donald. And this would have been from the 30s, Silly Symphony cartoons, early Mickey Mouse cartoons where Donald was a side character. He didn't quite have his trademark temper yet. He was just kind of a goofball in a sailor suit. And this is my take, not on a specific cartoon, but just on that general look. And here I'm making some final adjustments. I'm okay with it being a little more rudimentary since obviously it is original Donald. And of course, doing this, you notice some things about the evolution of the design that sometimes his hat would be white in later iterations, and then it went back to being blue. He's got that white collar, which later would be much smaller and would just be blue like the rest of the costume. I even used a different blue, a more simple blue. You'll see I made it a little different hue of blue in some of the upcoming versions. And then the inside of the mouth in the art that I saw, the actual like early Donald Duck art when it was in color on a poster or a promotional picture or something like that. It was just, the whole bill was just yellow. Even the inside of his mouth was just yellow. And I kind of like that. I wanted this to be as authentic as possible to that first appearance, original Donald Duck. Now for the second image, I wanted to fast forward a little bit to the 40s or 50s. And of course, it's we got that iconic head-on view of Donald Duck that would adorn the beginning of his cartoons when he started to get his own cartoons. The bill's a little too wide there. I was putting a little too much of my own caricature on it. I wanted this to be authentic as well, so we made the bill a little smaller. This is where I noticed that at least in this famous picture that in this case, I am really just copying a famous iconic image of Donald, that his hat is white, which isn't always the case in the actual films. But yeah, this is just pure fun. I'm just enjoying myself. I don't know how interesting or impressive it is to just draw Donald Duck and be as accurate as possible. I get a little more, I play a little more with my own style in the next couple of pictures, although they're still being pretty true to specific versions of Donald Duck. But this one, I wanted to be really, really precise. If you overlaid this, I'm sure I got the proportions wrong. I'm really bad at that, but I think it looks okay the way it is. And pretty easy to color this one as well. You'll see, I'm assuming that I included the Procreate export here. You'll see the whole coloring process. I fiddled around a bit with background color. Settled on a blue. Since we're not seeing any of his costume in this version, I figured, usually in the cartoons he was on a red burst, like a sunburst background. But I didn't want to try to recreate that in line art. I didn't think it would look great. So just settled on a solid, there we go. All right, so I guess I didn't include the Procreate export. Now on to number 3. Of course, it had to be the Donald in the fullness of his personality and character, doing his cursing and jumping and fighting, scrapping. I have a nice fake vintage T-shirt of this version of Donald, very similar to this. I did a little bit of tweaking this into my own style, just because I wanted the attitude to feel authentic. So sometimes I have to just draw the way I draw. I can't always just copy something exactly. But what a treat. What an all-time great character. You know, I think I talked about this in the Daffy Duck episode where I drew Daffy 4 times. That, Donald, look, I'm saying Donald's my favorite cartoon character of all time. He's the most iconic. He's my favorite design of a cartoon character ever. And it's really not even the artist in me talking when I say that. It's the kid in me. As a kid, Donald Duck, you know how there's like Donald Duck orange juice, or you'd see Donald Duck anywhere in public or in a movie or on a show. It was just captivating to me. I can't explain why. There's just something about cartoons and ducks, and about Donald in particular, that just works. But when it comes to the actual content of the films, this is what I was talking about in the Daffy episode, I think the Looney Tunes win in terms of personality and humor. Those cartoons are genuinely hilarious. Some of them are problematic. They don't hold up as well, but they are comedies that are funny. Whereas most of the classic Mickey Mouse stuff is just fun animation. It's just fun, fun little outings, a lot of which are so rooted in time and things that don't really play as well today. There is a new batch of Mickey cartoons over the last few years that are excellent, that are truly funny, truly interesting, where they have given the characters more personality. Mickey is kind of an a-hole. They've landed on this kind of almost like a Seinfeldian thing with those new Mickey cartoons, where the characters are just so oblivious and selfish and weird. It's crazy, but it works. They're funny. But classically looking back, you have Goofy. I think the Goofy how-to shorts may be the pinnacle of classic Disney that's actually funny and entertaining. But of all the Mickey and Pals characters, Donald's the one who's got the most going on in terms of having a personality, having a temper, and just being kind of a jerk. What fun. There he is. And now, of course, this being a holiday project, ultimately, an advent calendar of cartoon ducks, which is what I've been doing all December, I knew I had to include the Mickey's Christmas Carol iteration of Donald, which is not very on brand in terms of personality, but is a wonderful design. This was the most fun to draw. This just made me so happy. This is a riff on a moment from Mickey's Christmas Carol, where Donald plays nephew Fred, and he's got a wreath that he's kind of holding in this scene. The body's too big here. I'm going to shrink that by. There we go. Sometimes it's just a subtle amount. It's just a little tiny bit too big, and then it makes all the difference, reducing it, 15%, 10 or 15% in size. And now the drawing plays. That left foot is going to need a little bit of work, but we'll get there. But this just, this is not Donald's classic personality, but the design and the feel. There's just something magical to me about Mickey's Christmas Carol in particular. It was a batch of new artists in the 80s who were having their go with the classic characters and creating something that would stand alongside some of those classic cinematic cartoons, like Mickey and the Beanstalk is the one that comes to mind that is the most similar to Mickey's Christmas Carol in vibe and design, quality of animation. And also it's retelling a famous story. They would make more. They would do more after Mickey's Christmas Carol, like The Prince and the Pauper, which is pretty good. Mickey's Christmas Carol is just my favorite, though. I've bemoaned this previously in the Daisy Duck. I'll only briefly mention. If you want to hear me rant about this properly, watch the Daisy Duck episode of Sketchy. But it's hard. I don't know where to direct you for a definitive version of Mickey's Christmas Carol. The version on Blu-ray that's available in Best Buy or Target or whatever is awful. It has been marred by digital noise reduction. They've smeared the pencil lines in an attempt, I don't know, to hide film grain, to hide pencil strokes. I don't know why you would want to hide things that make a movie special, but it's awful. I believe, unfortunately, the version on Disney Plus seems to be the DNR version, the Blu-ray version. So for me, there was a set of DVDs, and DVDs not up to HD quality, unfortunately, but there are a set of DVDs called Disney Treasures that came out in the, early 2000s, maybe the 2010s, that were, it must have been before the 2010s. And they collect classic Disney animation, and there's a bunch of volumes that are all the Mickey cartoons in chronological order, and they have a version of Mickey's Christmas Carol on there that is widescreen, and that is the best it's ever looked on DVD. Does not have digital noise reduction. It is lower resolution than Blu-ray, but for my money and in my experience, it is the best version of it that exists, and that's the one that I watch when I watch it. I really hope Disney will get on top of that and give us good, at least HD, if not 4K versions of their hand-drawn animation. Post haste. Thank you for indulging me and joining me for this, the ultimate cartoon duck. It's Donald. What a treat. How fun that I got to do this. How fun that I get to share this with you. Very pleased with how this came out. I'm recording this on the actual day. I drew this more than a week ago at this point, but this is the day that I actually posted this online. I've unleashed it to the world to, mild, polite enthusiasm from my friends. But now I'm sharing this on YouTube. Maybe some more people will see it and enjoy it and get the same good feeling I get from drawing and looking at cartoon ducks. That's the time I have. Look in the description for ways to support my art, and I'll see you next time. Bye.